decided to start with industrial design, but you have to make an architecture year. My father was at the beginning not so convinced about what I was doing. No place in French, so I started to learn German, and that was my first job.
A 1-to-1 Sixteen Chapel.
Yeah, we made exactly a replica of the Sixteen Chapel in Mexico.
Can we look this up? Today's guest is a super passionate medical designer from Mexico that on her journey to learn how to actually help people not only learned in Latin America but also studied in Dublin and in Germany. Overcoming interesting experiences and challenges she's sharing with us created a very diverse skill set that enables her to create unique and very helpful designs for people. And I'm honored to share with you the life of design of Abril.
My name is Abril Villanueva. I was born in Mexico City. I'm 32 years old and I studied industrial design in the National Autonomous University of Mexico in bachelor. And in my master's, I studied in the Muthesius Hochschule here in Kiel, Germany. Yeah, that's me.
Nice. So what is your design or origin story?
Well, I think I've always liked to draw, but I always like at the other side, really technical side, like mathematics and physics. So I started to investigate once I was in my last high school year, and I decided industrial design was for me. That was after I made a huge mistake by being in a short period of time in the art side, but it was definitely not my thing. We were definitely at the side of just art, and I was not feeling that I was actually creating something important for people. So that was actually where I decided to change my focus into industrial design, because at the end we create objects that help to improve people's lives. At least that's how I see it.
Definitely.
Yeah, my father was at the beginning not so convinced about what I was doing. He wanted that I fulfill his dream of being an engineer, which, like, to be honest, it's a good deal if we see it like this, because industrial design has a little bit a side of engineering in the sense that we also create stuff. So it was, I think, I hope it was not that a bad decision.
At least it's like a good compromise.
I think it's like we can describe industrial design like that a little bit, like creative and a little bit of engineering side.
Yeah, it's definitely like some kind of compromise in between.
Yeah, of course.
What does your mom think about it?
My mom was always at the point that she said, you do whatever that makes you happy, it's okay. My mom is a really relaxed person. She didn't care what I was doing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because you hear all the stories of people being, like, parents being disappointed that their children got into art. Even though it's like, it's not really art. Yeah, but okay. So pretty much in high school, which is quite early, you found industrial design or design.
Well, I had to find it because in Mexico the study plan makes you choose from the last year of high school your direction. So you have to decide between 4 different areas: engineering, mathematics, architecture. That's the first one. Second one is biology and medicine. Third one is social sciences, and fourth one is arts and human sciences. So since you are confronted to that decision, you have to start thinking, hey, what do I actually have to study? So that's why I also made my research when I was already like 17, 18 years old. And it also, it was part of this mistake that I made, that I was like, I think it was 1 month in the 4th area, arts and human sciences, where I decided, no, this is not for me. It's okay, like, it's really cool to read so much, because we were reading at least like 2 books per week or something like that. But anyways, I don't feel that I am creating, that I am building, but because I'm a builder, repairer person, I really like a lot like workshops and tools and so on. So when I entered to the first area, to industrial design and so on, and I started to make technical drawings, I said like, yeah, this is totally for me. Yeah. I decided to start with industrial design, but you have to make an architecture year. You cannot just come and say like, hey, I want to do the test. No, you have to obligatory make an architecture year in order to make this test. There was, for me, not other way like to study in somewhere else, because the National Autonomous University of Mexico is it's one of the best in Latin America, and it's the best in Mexico.
Ah, okay.
And my father studied there, and it's just like it felt that I had to do it. So that's how I decided that it was not important what I studied, because I in high school, the high school belongs also to the university. So the decision I made it since I was 15 years old, that I wanted to go to the university.
So it's also not just an art university, but it's like a big, full-on university.
At least 20 different faculties.
That's big.
That's huge. I think, yeah, we have around 300,000 students in total. So it's like we call it city, university city.
Damn.
It was more important for me to go to the university as what I actually studied, you know?
Was it hard to get into? Because I imagine if it's like the best in Latin America, like, or one of the best, I imagine it's also very hard to get into. So what was the procedure to get into it? What was the admission tests and the portfolio and whatever you had to do?
I was lucky that I decided it so early in my life, because I made a test when I was 15 years old after my secondary school, and I got into high school. And when you're already in the university high school, you have the chance, if you have good notes, to go to the university directly without doing a test.
That's interesting. So what was that university admission test in high school or for high school like?
I don't remember anymore. I was 15 years old.
Yes.
It was a lot of what you already saw in secondary school, plus some other logical tests like spatial tests and logical at least.
That's interesting, because it's not specific to like design or something.
No.
Because it's also for other people that will go into engineering or something else. Ah, okay, that makes sense.
That will go to the high school at least, so that you have to have a really general culture basis to get into the university. And I also had to make a test to get into industrial design.
Oh.
So it was a very not hard, but at least like demanding process, of course, because you have to make a psychometric test.
Psychometric test?
Yeah, they test how you are spatially, how your spatial Fähigkeiten auf English. Abilities are.
Ah, yeah, so they give you like a shape and then you have to draw it from a different side, or they have to
exactly that kind of test. Just to realize how especially your brain is. And
after your high school, and then when applying to industrial design, or after the architectural module?
During the architecture year, at the end. That was like the last 4 months of architecture that we made that selection process. We also had to make like a portfolio, of course, really basic when I compare it now with what I do now. But at that moment it was like, oh my god, I have to do my portfolio, I don't know what to do. And I was learning still a little bit of Photoshop, and it was like, I wish I had it here. Maybe I can send you some photos later.
It would be amazing, yeah.
It was just really funny. It has like a Art Deco style, because then in those days I was really obsessed with Art Deco, and I made some shoes design, some backpack, and I remember that some people told me, you have really to concentrate in sketches, you know, industrial design is a lot of sketches. I never, dang it, I never mastered it until nowadays. I'm really bad at sketching, but I tried my best. And then you also have to make like this psychometric test, and then you have to build a cube with plastiline.
A cube?
A perfect cube with plastiline. So they test how... Yeah, like if you are actually manual able, also have a manual abilities.
And what happens to people that don't get through it? Do they have to keep on studying architecture?
Yeah, a lot of people do that. Like you have 2 chances to go in, and they just keep studying architecture and preparing themselves for this test again, and then the next year they get more normally accepted.
So it's very desirable to go into industrial design and less desirable to go into architecture? Or
no, it just depends on the person, of course.
Okay.
But we, in architecture, there are at least like 1,500 students. And in industrial design...
Per semester? Or
per semester, I think.
What?
We're a lot, like, and there are 2 different turns in the morning and the evening. So there are a lot of students in architecture.
That's nuts.
Maybe I'm inventing the numbers, but I remember like there were a lot of people.
Yeah.
I started in my generation with at least 50 or 60 persons. And in industrial design, there are only 60 persons per semester. So if you imagine there are 10 semesters, we're just 600 people in total in industrial design.
Yeah.
So we're really less. Yeah.
Thinking about this from... I know it's very different at our university. My university. Because we have like between 4 to 12 people per semester. So it's way fewer. But yeah, interesting. This is the admission test and you got accepted, obviously.
Yeah.
So what happened afterwards during your university time? What cool projects did you do? What kind of things did you learn?
Firstly, we were working with this green foam, you know?
Yeah.
The program is divided in form, ergonomy, aesthetics, and usability. Not usability like we know it, but like function. Sorry, that was the name of and function. So these are the 4 main themas that we get into. In every semester has a different thema. So we start actually with an introductory semester. Then we go into function, then we go into form, then ergonomy, and at the end is aesthetics. It was, what I remember, one of my favorite projects was to get to know the brand of bread, and then you have to analyze their values. Like, what does this mark represent? Like family, a union, and so on. And then to translate that into a design, an industrial design that you actually see that oven. It was an oven for a bread mark, and then you have to see it and say, that's the brand that I designed it for. And it represents those values because of this and this shape and so on. It was really interesting, of course.
That's interesting.
Yeah. That was the aesthetic project. The functional project was a gravity car. Do you know them? That we made that in the function semester. And in the other semesters, to be honest, I don't remember. It was so long ago. But to be honest, I really think our university had a good focus of how we learn stuff. Because when I arrived to Germany, to the Hochschule Wismar, I felt prepared. I felt that I was that I had like a basis of a method. We also did research, and then we had like a creative process. We learned about brainstorming and so on, and learned also about ideal method.
Oh yeah, so the human-centered design.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorite projects?
From that time, yeah, of course, like the oven, of course, is one of them. I think urban mobiliary for the community of Calakmul, which is a really cool community in the near of the some really cool pyramids of Calakmul, actually, in the Mayan area of Mexico.
Oh.
We learned with the community which kind of wood they use, which is the local material that they use. It's just fantastic just to learn about these woods. And we also got to eat and sleep for free. That was also really cool.
That's nice. Right now, we are in Germany.
Yeah.
But you were in Germany before. So maybe we can now jump back to your bachelor's and see how you went to Germany the first time.
Sure. Well, I was in 2000, sorry, it's my German, 2013, kind of not liking the career. So I was having my doubts. And I was always very good at speaking languages. So I wanted to learn something new, and I totally decided to go and learn French. But there was no place in French. So I started to learn German.
And that was during your industrial design degree.
Bachelor in Mexico.
Yeah.
Exactly, back in Mexico still. There was no place in French. I started to learn German because I saw that some of my friends already went to Wismar. And I said, well, maybe that could be something good. Maybe I'm good in German and maybe I can handle also to do something like that.
Do you know why Wismar?
My professor had then a special connection with the professor of Wismar, Cornelia Henschel. So they built this program of the National Autonomous University with the Hochschule Wismar, like Austausch semester, like interchange semester. That's how it started everything, and they started to keep specific classes for industrial designers. And that's how I got a place, because at the Center of Languages in the university, everything was packed full. It was impossible to study there.
Yeah.
So just for a little money, I think it was like maybe 50 euros per month or something like that. We learned a specific German for industrial designers. And at the end of this course, which was just like 6 months to be honest, and I didn't learn a lot because that I learned when I came to Germany, you know? But like after these 6 months of learning German, you had to give a presentation of one of your projects in German, and if you did it good, then you were going to Germany. And I did it. Yeah, I did it good enough. I remember it was really funny. It was one of my funniest projects. It was cleaning floor station, and I won the scholarship, and that's how I went to Wismar at the beginning.
Can you give reference in the story? So it was in the
Of
middle
course.
or in the end of your bachelor?
It was in the end of my bachelor. It was already my 10th semester. It was just, I remember the plan was just to go, finish my last semester, and then come back to make my bachelor thesis. It was, as I said already, 2014, already 9 years ago. And it was really interesting because it was a totally different focus. Like, I learned what is, like, for example, product photography, which I didn't have a clue in Mexico.
Yeah.
We made a project for Volkswagen that was also really interesting because we were in Wolfsburg.
Oh.
And I don't know if you know, but they have like a roller coaster inside of the museum.
What?
A roller coaster. I don't know how to describe it, but for me it was like that. It's like a huge car made of the last parts of the car, like the back parts of the car. And they are like small carts of roller coaster, and then you go there and then you visit the museum just like in this really weird...
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I never saw that. I never visited.
It's really interesting, of course, like because you get to know the process of how cars are built and the machines that they use and all the work is what they do when they are like installing the cars.
Yeah.
So we made them then like a project for it was public transportation for the year 2030.
Sounds a little bit like the projects you're doing, or you did later on with Professor Ryan in Kiel. Like, very, like, future visional ones.
Maybe it's the German way, I don't know.
No, maybe. Who knows? What happened afterwards? Because now you were in Wismar in Germany.
Yeah, I came back to Mexico. I did my thesis, which was actually also with Volkswagen. Really funny. We made like that's also one of my favorite projects, my bachelor thesis. We made it started as an exoskeleton for the workers of the fabric for Volkswagen in Mexico, to help them not to have so much tiredness in their body while they are installing and welding the pieces of the cars. But then we realized it would have been a really expensive project if we have continued like that, because we had also to invest in the prototypes and to actually make an exoskeleton that is also functional was not so easy. Yeah. So we redefined it, and we found out that there were two specific and important functions in the factory, which was welding the front part and the other one was installing the door of the car. So one of them was at this height, and the other one was at this height.
Oh.
Really, really like this. So we decided just to create two chairs, one really small and one taller, that enabled the user to make that activity without getting tired, without getting any pain, joint pain and so on. The connection with Volkswagen at the middle of the period was lost, but we continued anyway the project. Yeah. We actually wanted that they invest their money in our prototypes, but we have to do it all by ourselves, so it didn't happen anything.
Sad, unfortunately.
Yeah, because it was a really good project. Like, to be honest, it would have helped a lot, like the workers of the factories. It's of course one of my favorite projects. Yeah. And we also made the prototypes. They're still in Mexico, in the house of my classmate Mariana, which is now also industrial designer in Mexico.
That's cool.
Yeah.
After you graduated, what happened then?
Then I already had the idea that I wanted to go back to Germany, but in order to do that, I had to, of course, save some money. And what was a better way, like, to use my industrial design ability? So I started to...
Smart.
I started to search for a job as industrial designer in Mexico City. And the first one that I got was in like a company that was doing a replica 1-to-1 of the Sistine Chapel.
True.
Exactly.
It's so ridiculous. I think you told me it's also like in a pretty big scale, like not 1 to 10,000, but like 1 to 30.
No,
60?
that was 1-to-1. We made like a replica 1-to-1. A 1-to-1 Sistine Chapel.
A 1-to-1 Sistine Chapel?
Yeah. We made exactly a replica of the Sistine Chapel in Mexico.
Can we look this up?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if there are like images of it. And it was crazy. Because, it looks exactly like the Sistine Chapel. But all the ceiling and these images were printed in Canada in sublimation. It was crazy. I was at the end of the printing, unfortunately, not more in the team. I was just at the beginning where we made the whole technical drawings of the architectural forms and so on. But they told me the story that they had to deliver the project. And they had to do it so fast that they rented a plane or something like that. And then they went directly to Germany with the textile. Not to Germany, to Canada, sorry. To Canada, they printed it and then they came back to Mexico.
Wow.
So they invested a lot of money in this project.
It's crazy.
And it was 1-to-1, and it was all made in order to transport it from one city to another, so that the people of all the country could see the replica.
How did that come out? Like, who decided we need a Sixtine Chapel in Mexico?
I think it was in cooperation with the government of Mexico. And so the main idea was that the people that were not able to see it, they could see it like in Mexico. And the cool part of it was that it was everything transportable. That everything can be constructed in one site and then constructed in another site and then transported to another city, so that the whole country was able to see it.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was really spectacular, and that was my first job. Then the second one, I think there you had like the confusion. We made also a Scala building of Toyo Ito.
Oh yeah.
It was 1:30. Yeah, exactly. But it was also huge. It was also still 7 meters long, huge thing for a park. I was actually the coordinator of everything. I was the one that made the technical drawings, that coordinated the people that was like making all the sanding process at the end. And it was very cool. We also made like a fortune wheel.
Just because I'm interested in this.
Yeah.
It does, at least to me, it doesn't sound like the typical industrial design job or position to me. Or is that how industrial design is in Mexico?
It's in Mexico like that. That's the problem. Like in Mexico, we are unfortunately very focused in POP. That's all the commercial shelves, for example, for products, and in general in constructing for different companies and make marketing. So that's a little bit unfortunate, because a lot of Mexican industrial designers doing what industrial designer here does, but it's like what we can do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I was doing, and then I was doing also like this fortune wheel, and it was really interesting because we were working with another company at the same time that they installed the light system for this fortune wheel, and we had to think everything in order that the lighting and everything was also able to be installed in this fortune wheel, which was around, I remember, 2 meters diameter. Like, it was huge. And it was fantastic. It was made in laser cut for metal. And I remember planning all these pieces in order to get cut in laser cut. It was really cool.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, I will show you photos, of course.
Yeah, please do. So, and after that, what happened afterwards?
After that, I was working shortly in editorial design, also in Mexico City, making a catalog. And that was my last job.
Why did you decide to switch between those projects?
The first one was, it's finished, so I was not able to work there anymore. The second one, I had to do my bachelor, so I had to quit to the job, and then I was ashamed to ask to be again there. To work there again, so I didn't do it anymore. But I would have actually loved it, and to be honest, now that I think retrospective, that was my favorite job of all times, the miniature job, and because it was a huge workshop, and I get to know a lot about processes. And my boss was actually really cool also. He told me a lot of stuff. Then I was in the editorial job, and I changed because of how I already said my bachelor thesis, because I had to concentrate a lot in my bachelor thesis. And then that was it. That was my last job. Then I had like a last job in furniture design.
Oh!
And there we were modeling in SolidWorks, a lot of different furniture for hotels, luxury hotels in Mexico City, and at the same time calculating the material that it was used for this mobile pieces with another software. So we had to make the CAD software in SolidWorks and then translate it into another software that was calculating how many pieces of MDF or how many pieces of this specific woods. And there I learned also a lot of materials. It was really cool, but we were earning so less money. I remember I was earning around 500 euros per month in a full-time job. So it was not worth it. And at the end I was like, oh, I really want to go back to Germany and so on. So I did. And then I traveled to Kiel. That was the last job I did. I quit it and then I went back to Germany.
Why did you decide on going to Kiel instead of, for example, Wismar?
Because it was the only place that was that had a medical design as a master.
And why did you know you wanted to do medical design?
Because of the experience I had already with ergonomy and human-centered design. I read a little bit about the description of the master program, and it's actually a lot like that. So I wanted to do something that had to do with the topic human-centered design.
And how was your application process for that?
That was actually really cool. I was on vacation here with a German friend that I had like since my Wismar years. And on that time I was able to come to the open tour here in the Muthesius Hochschule. And I wrote in an email to Professor Ryan. And I remember he told me, yeah, come and then you can see what we're doing now. And he showed me the projects that they were doing. I found it all like so good quality. I really was dreaming of being here. And I remember then I didn't have the German test that you require to enter here. Afterward, they changed that and then accepted people that were only talking English to the program. But when I came, it was like an obligatory thing to talk German. So Professor Ryan talked to the people in the university, and they allowed me to enter here without the German test. And then I made the test afterwards when I was already in my second semester here. The application process was just sending my portfolio. I was also like building a new portfolio for this, and what we're doing, I think that was it. It was the only portfolio thing. An interview with Professor Ryan per telephone, which was also really complicated. I was actually in my editorial design job, and there in the office I did it. I asked for permission, and they told me, yeah, you can do it, okay. And I Skyped with Professor Ryan then per telephone. It was a short interview, and then he said, okay, you can come to Germany.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And that's how I actually, as I don't know if I already told you, but like the school I met it through a guy that I met in an app that it's a little bit like Tinder, but then you meet people by music taste.
Oh.
So you match by your music taste. And this person told me, I don't remember his name anymore, but he was really cool and told me, yeah, if you come to the Tag often a tour, you can also sleep here, like you can crash here. And then I realized that I really wanted to come back to Kiel and study here.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You read all the descriptions, you talked to people, but it didn't turn out to be what you thought it was. Why is that?
I think it was already a little bit like that in the description, but anyway, I was hoping that because of the term of medical design, we were actually focusing more in medical device design. And it was not like that. We were only focusing in more like the human-centered design and also a lot in transportation design, weirdly.
The big things that happened during your master year, like the big projects or revelations, learning opportunities?
Well, I think the first one was the confrontation with information design. Professor Ren wanted like that we made information design at the beginning of our master, and that was a little bit new. But I got to master my abilities in Adobe Illustrator and also in my research methods. That was really cool.
There's like so many graphs and so many posters that they do to explain like very complicated processes to people. So stuff like how does the ear work, or how like, because a lot of those medical problems for non-medical people are super abstract.
Yeah. And the translation of those abstract information into graphic information, that's information design. And I think it was a really new field that I never saw before, but it was one of the things that formated me the most in my medical design master. Then it came the project with the hospital. Yeah, exactly. We had to make a reform of the emergency rooms. And that was also really interesting because at the end of the project I was working from Dublin in distance with my team, and wow, that was a lot of work. I remember I was working in two projects at the same time, one in Ireland, finishing this project of the UKSH, and then at the same time doing my project for Ireland.
For an exchange semester, right? Mm-hmm. Why did you go to Dublin?
Because I wanted to live by myself this really medical device design. And there it was like really medical device design. They taught us a lot of about rules and like rules to develop medical devices. We learned also about history about medical device design. That was also really weird. We learned fusion also, but it was really focused in only medical devices. So that was really interesting to make the research about that. They also had like a totally different method to make research and to make prototyping testing. Yeah, I made an internship semester there, but then came Corona, so I had to cancel it. So I was only there like 3 months.
That's sad.
Yeah, it was really sad.
What could you take away from it?
Design of medical devices has a really huge technical rule size that you have to take care of before starting actually just building in 3D.
Yeah, makes sense.
And yeah.
How did it go on from the exchange to Dublin? Now coming back to Kiel, what happened afterwards?
Well, actually, I was a period in Mexico because I was not sure if I wanted to continue my master's anymore.
Oh, why?
Because I had like a huge psychosis. Yeah, and I had to take a break afterwards, like after the psychosis, and then I was in Mexico and I spent like 8 months there trying to figure out if I wanted to come, if I didn't want to come. I really wanted to come, but at the same time I was like a little bit scared. I don't know why in that moment of continuing my master's years.
Was it because you thought that
maybe
the stress from the master's
could have been repeated and then I could have had like another sequel or something like that? But that didn't happen, luckily. And then 8 months later I said like I cannot be here anymore. I really don't like life living here. I had to go back to Germany, and I came back and it went all actually pretty cool. I started my master thesis and I actually wanted to create a water taxi, but the project was so extensive that we decided just to focus in the interface design of it. The communication between the passenger and the taxi, which was solved by the head-up display with augmented reality.
Whenever I look at it, it's so cool.
Yeah, I think so too. And it could also be a very useful project for the city of Kiel. I think I will try to get in contact with the government and just present the project. I decided to stay in Kiel because my boyfriend is here, but also because I really love this city. I think Kiel is the perfect combination between a student life and actually quiet life, you know.
Yeah.
It is not that big, it's not that small, and
It's a very good sized city.
yeah,
For sure.
it is, right?
It has a vibe to it. Like it's not like a big urban city, but it's also not a like small tiny town. It's perfect.
Yeah, so I decided to stay here, and nowadays I'm looking for a job. Last week I had a I don't know how to translate it in German.
Oh, like
in
a-
English. Probetag.
Yeah, like a trial period.
Trial.
Day? I don't know.
Trial
like-
day.
Yeah, congratulations.
They're doing software for praxis, as a medical places, hospitals,
Oh.
and like to manage patients, to control the process of handling and so on.
That's so interesting because you also told me that you work like right now you're working inside of the normal like doctor's office.
Exactly. Now I'm working in a doctor's office. We're doing studies.
Yeah.
And it's a chaos, must I say. Like, it's just pretty much confronting you every day with non-friendly software. You have to have a lot of shortcuts that you have to learn by memory of how to make a recept, for example. You just don't go and click recept done. No, you have to enter a lot of codes, and I say like, but people actually with this kind of background, they don't have the ability for that. They have to actually make a training in order to do this. So it's actually an extra cost that they could just save if they had like the right software for it.
Yeah.
And I hope just like to be on the other side.
You know the struggles.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I think we are basically the perfect fit for that.
I hope so.
During your time until now, during
Yeah.
your journey, you learned a lot of different things.
Yeah, of course.
What are the things that you would maybe advise people that would take like a very similar path to you? Maybe new designers just starting out in Mexico, or in general, just youngsters.
I think you should, of course, go and practice a lot of sketching, because that helps also in like the inside process in your head of how to build something. I would also recommend to start as soon as possible with 3D modeling, and then just like to have fun, not to overthink stuff, just to enjoy the process. Yeah. Try to have a schedule while you're working of making pauses when you can, and having a specific periods of time for work, because at my master thesis I was working 20 hours per day or something like that, which was totally not healthy.
Yeah, that doesn't sound healthy at all. 10 hours, how does that work? Like,
I don't know, I'm just crazy. I when I focus on something and I'm really into it, I can just go and go on and go on, and I forget about eating, I forget about sleeping, I forget about everything. So it's really important to have alarms that tell you, hey, you have to sleep now a little bit at least, or you have to eat a little bit. You can also relate for sure, like at the end of a project, we're all like just there. And
yeah, but I think where for a lot of designers it starts to become complicated is that we feel like we need that, right?
Yeah.
Like, because it feels like we are doing something, but maybe we would also be more effective if we didn't do that. Like, do it that way. Maybe instead of 120%, give 80%, but be able to do it over a longer period of time.
Yeah,
something.
maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe just part of the deadline that we have to do that, but it's totally not healthy. It's not good to do that. Like, you can also get into the hospital like me, and that's not something that you want to have in your life, you know?
For sure.
Yeah. So I really recommend that you just have alarms for a specific amount of time while you're working. Have alarms to control your pauses, and try to have a timeline of how you want to develop your project. I would say that.
Nice. The last segment.
The random.
The rapid fire questions. So just give me quick answers to those questions. Don't think about them too much. And yeah, let's see what you think about those things. Is there a life balance in design?
It should have. I'm just gonna say that.
Your thoughts on sustainability and design?
Obligatory.
Your design philosophy?
Human-centered.
Your favorite design tool?
Rhinoceros.
Your favorite product?
I think the brown products.
Your favorite design?
Red and blue chair.
Biggest misconception about design?
Art. No, people think it's art.
It's not. That's kind of true. A lie designers tell themselves?
A lie designers tell to themselves? That we're better than engineers.
Do we though?
No, we are not. I think we have to work together.
Exactly. I feel like there's like this weird competition between different fields, and it doesn't make really sense.
Because we should actually like
exactly. One doesn't make sense without the
together.
other.
Exactly.
Biggest flaw as a designer?
For me personally, my lack of ability for presenting my projects. Like, most of my projects are not that bad, or they are good most of the times, and I don't have the enough self-confidence to present it in a better, spectacular way. I have to practice more in that. Yeah.
Most important skill as a designer?
Oh, that's a hard one. Creativity, but that's not it is a skill actually. That have to be worked and have to be developed, right? Yeah, creativity.
Ultimate goal as a designer?
Making a product that improves people's life.
Where do you want to be as a designer in 10 years?
I want to have my own company with my boyfriend. He studies naval engineering. We want to create a company to make floating houses.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it would be nice to have my own company to design that.
That's cool. I wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. Cheers.